This video was supposed to come out on Saturday, actually. I was planning on editing this video that evening right after I recorded it, but I got so sick within like hours. It was bad. And now I'm not able to take my Benlysta on time again. I had to stop my Imuran again. If you're seeing it during the week, that's why.
Yeah, I'm definitely sick again. But that's okay. This is just, never ending for us, unfortunately. It's 44 degrees. I did not sign up for this when I came to Florida. It should be at least 75 right now. This is simple. And I can't. My New York card has officially been revoked because if I had to be in New York right now, I would die. I would fucking die from this cold. I could never go back. I have family here for the holidays. They're flagging me down. So here's what happened. If you guys saw my lupus story, then you would know that I had a real problem with weight loss. And it was rapid and it happened very quickly. I don't think I really went into how long the weight loss became a problem. So I wasn't able to get past 110 pounds. And this went on until I saw this immunologist. At the time, my mother, who's a nurse, was working at a rheumatologist's office in upstate New York. And one of her patients gave her the name of this doctor. I guess they were just talking and she mentioned me and my situation and the problems I was still having despite being on treatment, the weight loss problems. And they gave her this doctor's information. It turns out that I have mast cell activation. There's different types of mast cell disorders, and mast cells are part of the immune system. But it's part of the immune system that really has to do with allergic reactions. So it's almost like my body was having an allergic reaction to everything that I was ingesting, right? So I started trying to do an elimination diet, and it turned out that things like eggs, milk, gluten, a lot of different things were just making me have a really bad reaction. And it was just constant diarrhea. Everything felt painful to eat, like a rock in my stomach. It was just terrible. So what he prescribed was this cromolyn sodium oral solution. It comes in a box like this. And my dose is 2 of these, 30 minutes, at least 30 minutes before every meal, and I take it 4 times a day. So you take these off and put them in, dilute it, 2 of them in a glass of water, and you just chug it. Very quickly, taking the cromolyn, my weights went right back to normal. It happened so quickly. It was amazing. And like I said, for years after getting the diagnosis from 2016, I didn't get this mast cell activation syndrome diagnosis until maybe 2 years ago, I think. So that's like a good couple of years that I dealt with this weight problem. And, at the lowest point, I was at 102 pounds, and I could not get past 110. And I would even start to lose weight when I was in a bad flare again. And then I would struggle to get back up. It seemed like the only way I was able to gain weight again is if they gave me a dose of steroids. And then once the dose of steroids were done, I would start losing weight again. So it was just terrible. And even at 110 pounds, I was still really underweight, and I didn't look too good. I didn't feel very good either. So it wasn't until I got this diagnosis that I started gaining weight. And now I'm back to a normal, healthy weight, and I have not had any further issues with constant diarrhea or with weight loss. I was so thankful that my mom just happened to be a nurse, and she just happened to be working for this rheumatologist and mentioned me to the right patient at the right time, and they told her about the right immunologist. So that was amazing. And it saved me from a lot of misery.
Oh, Jesus.
Hi, Belle. Excuse me, guys. It's a madhouse in here right now. And I do apologize about the background noise and the coughing and sniffling, but it is what it is. So that's not the only thing. I also carry an EpiPen because I had an allergic reaction to this Australian wine called Fisheye, I believe it was. And it was like my throat was literally closing up and I could not breathe. After I was able to breathe again, I started vomiting uncontrollably. And I did not have an excessive amount of this wine at all. I had like a few sips and had this reaction, which is very odd for me because I do, have the occasional glass of wine or glass of wine with dinner or whatever. So, I've tried many different, like Merlot and Shiraz and Chardonnay and Sauvignon Blanc. Like, I just like wine. So this was really strange because I had never had a reaction to any kind of wine before. This is why I'm carrying around an EpiPen. Now, I don't have any kind of anaphylactic reaction to like bee stings or shellfish or peanuts or anything like that. But I do have allergic reactions to other bug bites like fleas, sand fleas, mosquito bites, and I will itch for weeks and weeks and weeks. Like, if your cat or something has fleas, like, don't come anywhere near me because I'll get bit 100 times and I'll be itching for like a month straight till I'm bleeding. So, yeah, and I never realized that that's not really normal. Like, it's crazy. I'm also on famotidine and levocetirizine, which is just generic Excisal, because they also both act as mast cell stabilizers. And I have chronic rhinitis and I get upper respiratory infections all the time. I mean, part of this, me getting sick all the time, is also because of the mast cell and because of all these allergies that I have, apparently. So I get urticaria. They're basically like these little bumps and like patches on your skin when you come into contact with something. And it's funny because I remember I was spending the night at a girlfriend's house and she sprayed this Victoria's Secret body spray. And I remember exactly what it was because I had such a bad reaction to it. It was Love Spell. And I broke out in what I now know is these little bumps everywhere, but they urticaria. And I started itching uncontrollably. I was so itchy that I was driving to the ER with one hand and like itching everywhere with the other. It was horrible. I don't know. It was dark. It was like middle of nowhere, like Ellenville in upstate New York. I mean, real middle of nowhere. In the middle of the night, I'm driving to the ER. Like, I don't know how I made it there driving like this. Like, I was itching so bad, and like my legs too, that I had one hand on the steering wheel and a leg up like this, and I was like going nuts. And they had to give me prednisone. So yeah, I started looking back at these little things like, oh, that makes sense now. So I don't know, it's crazy because I never even thought of myself as someone that really had allergies. Things like that would happen once in a while. It wasn't like a constant thing. So that's interesting. The other thing was POTS. So remember in the first video how I was talking about these weird spells of like feeling like passing out? Feeling like I was hot and cold at the same time and passing out? Well, that kind of progressed into feeling like I was hot and cold at the same time and dizzy and like I was going to vomit. And my concern when this happens, and it does happen, it started happening pretty frequently, was that I was going to pass out, be unconscious, and vomit and like choke. I know that sounds really gross, but that can that can happen. So I ended up getting a POTS diagnosis, which also goes hand in hand with mast cell activation, unfortunately. So that's postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. So that would really explain why my heartbeat felt weird and explained everything. So now I take a low dose of fludrocortisone every day. I take it first thing in the morning because I've noticed if I don't take it first thing in the morning, it's a problem and it'll randomly happen, and you don't want that happening, especially if, like, I don't know, you're driving or something, you're driving to work, or really doing anything. Seeing that immunologist really changed a lot for me. Sometimes I think that these doctors, and I hate that it's like this, but it seems like they always want to go for the low-hanging fruit. What is the easiest, right? You have this unexplained nerve pain. Oh, it must be fibromyalgia because, that's the low-hanging fruit. That's the easiest explanation to, like, get you off their back and, here, try some Lyrica, and if that doesn't work, we'll try another one. And these doctors spend 15 minutes with you. This guy spent 2 hours, and you know what? Because he was like an old school physician and did it the right way, in my opinion, he figured it out. You can't figure it out in 15 minutes. You are not going to get a whole picture with a patient in 15 minutes. And I really hope that if you're a medical professional and for whatever reason you're watching this, you understand that it's not realistic. Not going to happen. Okay? And if you think you're that good, you're arrogant. You're much dumber than you think. So, all that time of me complaining and seeing all these 10 million different specialists, I even saw other immunologists. It's just that this guy spent the time. And these other people were, these major healthcare conglomerates, and they only allow doctors 15 minutes per patient. It made all the difference in the world. It really did. So that is my lupus story part 2. Next weekend, I'm going to be uploading a special video for a subscriber.
I just want to bring attention to the fact that in certain parts of the world, there are not many treatment options that are available to people. And it's ridiculous because there are people that are really suffering from these complex and severe autoimmune diseases that only have Plaquenil and steroids, or are lucky to even have Plaquenil. And we all know that generally if your disease is moderate to severe, it doesn't really do much. So I just would like to bring that to light and just spend some time talking about that. And I'm glad that this situation with this subscriber, which I will explain on that video, brought this to my attention.
It takes me a lot of time to edit these videos and just to find certain information. I do a lot of research for some of these videos, so please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It does help with the algorithm, and it definitely helps me to know that I'm doing the right thing here and to keep putting content like this out there. And hit that notification bell so that you get notified of all of my upcoming videos. I hope you all are having a happy holiday. I hope you sanely are able to deal with your families. And good luck, guys. I'll see you next time. I gotta go deal with mine.